Alright, here we are back again. This is the next part, which is appropriately titled How to Juggle. And the reason why it's titled that is because I pretty much thrown a lot of information at you in the Advanced Basics Part 1 and also the Rune Optimization Part 2. More so the Part 1 though, where I cover the things that you should be doing if you want to grow. Now, for this being part 3, we're going to talk about how to juggle, specifically for PVE, player versus environment content, right? I think that's what the E stands for. And then the next part, which is part 4, is going to be dedicated to Mr. Cleve, which really asked for this video, specifically for how to juggle in the PvP side of things. So in each of these video parts, especially when you're getting into this third part, every single person in this guild should be diving into this part of the video. This video is going to help you really kickstart your growth. Now, with each day that you're farming, you shouldn't see massive improvement in the day by day. I mean, you could if you pull like a new Nat 5 or whatever, but for the most part, growth should be seen in a month by month basis. And I mean, like, even me as a Guardian ranked player, I see massive growth with each month that I farm, which is saying something, which means that every single person from fighter ranked to conqueror ranked to even into the Guardian ranks are going to continue seeing lots of growth. So that's why you should be always focused on PvE content. Let me go ahead and buy these real quick. Alright, so we're going to talk about how to juggle. Before we get into that though, I want to make one addendum to part of the video previously. Over here, I was confused when I was talking about the flat stat rune thing. If your rune rolls into flat stat one time, it is okay. If it rolls into it more than one time, you may have to debate whether you sell the rune. There are chances where if it rolls double flat stat, it might still be a good rune and you might still keep it. If it's a slot 2, 4, and 6, you have to debate that. But rolling to flat HP one time is okay. Because if you roll into flat HP one time plus 1 HP grind, you can get 1000 flat HP, which is actually pretty good. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's talk about how to juggle PvE. This is going to be a shorter video, but very important. Okay, so TOA, now everything that I'm going to mention, each piece of content that I'm going to mention, if you can't complete it, you need to do your homework. You can't just ask me to specifically make a team for you. I could do it, and I will do it if you ask. But if you really want to grow, and if you want to have that mindset of growth, you need to have that hunger for information. You need to go and look. Where can you look? You can look on Reddit, you can look on YouTube. That alone, those two avenues of information alone will have more than enough information for that you can even take in. There's so much information. So for that alone, you need to have that hunger for information. TOA hard. Everybody should be able to complete this, okay? This is my team. Well, wrong team. This is my team here, okay? There's certain harder stages where you'll need to make a specific unit. There's a unit called Camools. It's like a dark medium elemental, dark low elemental. I'm not even sure what it's called. It's like a dark elemental named Camools. Some people use Michelle with it. There's all these different units, right? You have to explore that. There are certain stages that you can't beat unless you have like Garo, like, you know, we're talking about the Zeros and Achroma stage. Certain stages like that, it's going to be like either stage 67, 77, 87, or stage, oh, no, it's not going to be stage 97, but at worst it'll be stage 87, where you need Garo. If you have Halfast, which is the light lich, that will help you out a lot as well, especially in like the stage 93 or stage 97, whichever. If it's the male or female boss, it'll be either stage 93 or 97 that problems occur. But you need to have that hunger for information to figure out how to beat these stages. Okay, next, Dragons, Giants, or Necro. In general, I recommend against farming Necro if you are unsure of what you're doing. Necro should only be farmed if you have a specific reason to farm it. Main specific reason is to build up your will runes. And yeah, if you need to build up your will runes, for sure farm it, but will runes come secondary to having good violent runes. There are many defenses out there in Siege where I'm seeing Guardian ranked players using just pure brute stat violent runes. They don't even care about will runes, and they still have really high success rates. Violent runes, when in doubt, farm violent runes, okay? Swift runes, when should you be farming this? Honestly, you should be farming this. It's not just for the foundational runes, but if you see pros with those like 320 speed Bernards, there's a reason why they have that. It's because they're farming giants like crazy. Someone like myself personally, I have no offensive nat, or very few. Like I have 2 Vanessas, right? Those are like my bruiser offense nat 5s, right? But most of my nat 5s are supports. What does that mean? Support nat 5s typically will either be using violent or despair, because support nat 5s tend to have a lot of AoEs. Therefore, my reason for farming giants is because of all my support nat 5s. Find a reason, find a deficiency in your rune stack, right? If you have a deficiency in will runes, maybe it's time to jump into necro. If you have a deficiency in violent runes, like, or you don't have enough revenge runes, or whatever the case is, jump into dragons. If you have a deficiency in your swift runes, your Bernard is only like 200 or 270 speed, you should jump into giants, okay? But if you can't figure it out, when in doubt, go for dragons, as long as you can make a team that has a high success rate. Now, this goes without saying, but if you can't figure out your Giants team or your Dragons team, you need to go onto YouTube and start looking up videos. Now, this goes even deeper than a basic Dragons team, right? With the basic Dragons team, there are certain units that everyone may recommend. Sigmaris, for instance, is a recommended unit. Some people say Theomars. Everyone has their own, some people use Gatlian. I don't, because I don't need it. I'm using twins. But whatever the case is, figure out teams that you can actually use. For one of our guildies, Jedi, he had a dark twin. The dark twin can strip the immunity off the dragon. So there's certain units, like if you go onto YouTube and look up guides for how to make a dragons team, that twin is not going to show up in any of those guides because no one has the twin. So you have to also theory craft, read your monsters, especially those rarer monsters that no one uses. Read those monsters. You might find that you have a really good unit that you could use that is not going to show up on guides. But again, you need to have that hunger for information, okay? This team that I'm using here, there's a lot of thought process that went into it, and believe that, right? So whatever the case is, come up with your teams, have a reason why you're farming one of these. Regardless of what you're doing in the PVE side of things, you always should be farming one of these dungeons in combination with farming everything else. So we just talked about TOA hard, we talked about the Karos dungeons, which you need to be farming. Next, we're going to go into the elemental rifts, which I'm telling you about, or which I previously told you about. These 3 here, again, there are guides on YouTube. You don't have to farm triple S like I do, right? In fact, when I say the video title, How to Juggle, this video title does not apply to people that farm triple S for everything. If you farm triple S for these, you should not even be watching this video, okay? This video is for people who are struggling, who want to get their 3 reappraisal stones every week, but also want to do TOA hard, but also want to farm their giants runs, but also want to do this and also want to do that. That's what this video is for, okay? So for you guys that are struggling, don't aim for triple S, aim for A+. Okay, you can A or A+. Try to aim for A or A+. Just get enough pieces to get your to get everything good, okay? So the reason why this video is called How to Juggle is because of priority lists, okay? What is priority? I'll tell you what is not priority first. What is not priority is Labyrinth. You know, Labyrinth is, because I do, like, if you look at me, I'm doing Labyrinth hell for everything, right? That's not priority though. Labyrinth Hell is like the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of the lowest priority. Okay, so get that out of the way. If you struggle with Labyrinth and you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should make a third Raccoon so I can do better in Labyrinth, that's the wrong move. Okay, Labyrinth should be on the bottom of your priority list. Okay, so that's the bottom. Top priority is going to be one of these teams. Pick one of these teams, make that your top priority, give them your best 5 rune sets, and make the team 100% success and farm away. Next priority is probably going to be TOA hard. That should be something that you should be able to do. Again, beginners that have played this game for 3 months can do that. Lowest priority is Labyrinth. Just do like easy mode. Just auto it on easy mode if that's the best you can do. It'll help the guild out. You may get some good rare drops every now and then. And also, I mean, you're helping the guild out, so why not? It's a low energy cost, so you might as well do it. And another big priority if you are in mid game, which everyone in this guild is in mid game, should be to farm that the fire, ice, and the wind beast. Okay, you should be farming it at least on A+. So what you should be doing is you should be going up and looking up guides to figure out a team combination. So don't look up just one guide, look up like 3 different guides, come up with like, have pen and paper or use like Microsoft Word, type out some teams, type out some thoughts, type out some ideas for where you can use these monsters, right? For instance, maybe you're farming dragons B10 and you have a Tark that's been built, right? Like you see this Tark is just like random runes that I tossed. There's no rune sets or anything. Clearly, you know, it's just random runes that I tossed on him, right? But let's say you're farming dragons B10 and you're using Tark in your dragons B10 team. It only makes sense to also use Tark in your fire Rift Beast team, right? For instance, like this is not really good runes, but back when I was farming dragons B10, I was using Lapis, and before I got the twins, I was using Lapis. So Lapis had some of my best runes at that point, and that's why it also made sense to bring Lapis into my Fire Rift Beast team. Whatever it is you're using, try to accomplish. This is how to juggle. Try to accomplish your goal without making new units. We just talked about like Labyrinth. You're thinking about making a third Raccoon to do your Labyrinth. Don't do that. Try to see what you currently have and use that. Maybe, for instance, I have a Lukasha that's been 6-starred. Why would I not use it? I'm going to use it. If you yourself do not have Lukasha, don't feel obligated to build it. I said to build Freya in the first part of the video, or in the first part. Why did I say that? Because Freya is the key to success. So Freya is a monster that you should build if you don't have like Perna, if you don't have Huahi. You need something that helps get your team successful, and that's Freya. If you don't have a Colleen, you should have one. These are monsters that you need to have, right? But don't feel obligated to build the Trevor if you know you're just like where are you going to use Trevor? You're going to use Trevor in maybe some PvP, but in reality you're not using Trevor in dragons, you're not using Trevor in giants, you're not using Trevor in necro, you're only using Trevor in wind beast. Therefore, don't feel obligated to 6-star a new Trevor just to do wind beast. Okay, so we're juggling here because you're doing so many pieces of content at the same time. You cannot make a 6-star for just one purpose. On the other hand, as I said, if you're building your Dragons B10 team and you're building a Tark, then, you know, obviously you would put Tark in as many places as you can. You might even put Tark in the Light Rift Beast. He may even be a good option in the Light Rift Beast, right? Because you're figuring out like, oh, let me use Tark there. But again, the whole purpose of this is use what you currently have and try your best to not 6-star too many new monsters, okay? Because you're at this point in progression where 6-starring monsters is easy. I see all these like fighter ranked players that 6-star, like they have like 156 stars and they have like 0 runes. Don't be one of those people. Be the type of person that only 6 stars for a purpose. Okay, 6-star only for a purpose. So if you're focused on your dragons team, right, and you suddenly pull a new nat 5, don't immediately jump on and 6-star that nat 5. That nat 5 serves you almost no purpose. Okay, I know it's hard. You want to 6-star your new nat 5, but it serves almost no purpose. So don't do it. like, look, I'm being real here. I'm not, I take my own advice. Look at this. Like, look at this unit. I love this unicorn. It's so cool, right? I mean, I like the way she looks. I mean, that looks great, right? But guess what? No Devilmons, no runes, not even 6-starred. Why? Because I don't need her to be 6-starred. I'm focused on so many other things right now. Again, me as a Guardian rank player, I'm still growing. Just because people are Guardian doesn't mean they stop growing. Everyone is still growing at a rapid pace, okay? So, just because I pulled this Nat 5, I'm not gonna 6-star her for no reason. Okay, so I take my own advice, so you guys should as well. You need to find a purpose, like find your priority and focus on that priority. Again, number one priority is going to be one of these dungeons. Pick it and stick to it for like the next 6 months. You will see progression each month, I promise you. Okay, you should be farming this at least like A or A plus rank, S rank ideally if possible, which I believe most of you guys in this guild should be able to hit S or SS rank, double S rank. You guys have Pernas, right? So you should be like putting the Perna in your dungeons where you're using Perna leader skill, those kinds of things. Again, pick your teams with the least amount of 6-stars that you can make. Therefore, you should be watching guides on each of these things. Maybe watch 3 guides, and if you watch 3 guides, all 3 people on YouTube are going to be using different teams. Look at those monsters, pick teams, go on Reddit, read like the Reddit comment section as well. Even though some of those people are idiots, some of those people do have good ideas. Actually, a lot of people have great ideas on Reddit. So look at that. Pick the information that you want to pick, write it on your paper or write it on Microsoft Word, and make your teams, okay? So in terms of PVE, in terms of juggling, 6-star units step by step, okay? Don't 6-star units for no reason. You should be farming this. You should have a team made for this. I think for most of you, if you are in this guild and you don't have a TOA hard team made already, those should be the next units that you're 6-starring. Not the new Nat 5 you pulled, unless that new Nat 5 happens to be what's going to help you with this. Like maybe you pulled Rika. Rika would be like the Fire Cult Girl. That would be a great unit to use in your TOA hard team, right? But if it's not like if you pulled like a I don't know, a Daphnis, the Fire Fairy King, like don't 6-star him. Because he's not going to help you. He might help you actually. Daphnis could help you on the 100 stage actually, funny enough. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? For instance, if you don't have a Spectra, but Spectra would be the thing that helps you, build the Spectra, right? So that's what I'm saying. Build only with a purpose, okay? Aside from that, you're just farming these dungeons and you're going to see progression, I promise you, okay? And again, this is the lowest priority. At the very least, help the guild out by doing it on easy mode. Just auto it on easy mode. You might get some good rewards, and it's low energy cost. This is the lowest priority, okay? So with that being said, this is again how to juggle. For the next part, we're going to talk about how to juggle with all of these aspects plus the PvP, okay? Oh, and just one more part that I forgot to mention. So briefly in part 1 near the beginning, I talked about how to obtain more Mystic Scrolls, and I said you should be farming Arena for glory points in order to have your Mystic Scrolls. I want to add more on that because I never talked about it. Okay, so in Arena, right, you should be farming your rivals. They give you crystals and everything. It should be pretty easy to do. Anytime you see them up, you should be doing it. But in Arena over here, right, you should be using some sort of a team that can fast win or fast loss. Most of us here probably have Lucians. If you don't have Lucians, you should be using, I don't know, like a cleave team with Galleon, like Galleon Amir, for instance, the Wind Ifrit. If you really don't have anything, use the Water Homunculus. There are a whole bunch of other options that you can be using, right? So find a way to farm Arena as well. Even if you're not looking to like climb up your ranks, those 3 Mystic Scrolls, especially when you're farming everything together, like let's see how many Mystic Scrolls I had. We just had a summoning session. I already have 36 of them. Like after the Christmas summoning sessions was over, we did like a summoning session 3 weeks later. I had 70 Mystic Scrolls ready to be summoned. And after that summoning session, like here I am now again with like it's been a week since that Christmas summoning set, or it's been a week since that last summoning session where I dropped those 70 scrolls, and I have like another 31. Like, I kid you not, you need, and tomorrow after Sunday is Monday. What am I gonna do on Monday? I'm going to go here and buy another 3 Mystic Scrolls. I'm gonna go here and buy 3 more water scrolls and 3 more mystical scrolls there. So that's 9 more scrolls that I'm gonna get tomorrow, plus me farming tomorrow and getting more. I'll gain like 12 scrolls tomorrow probably, because I get like 3 from dungeon drops. So I'm telling you that farming like this will get you everything you need, okay? And you're asking yourself probably as well, since we're on this topic of PVE, how do you 6-star more monsters? Okay, this, I wish I put this in the beginning of the video, so I hope you've watched to the end. The answer is honestly farming dragons, farming giants, farming necro. That's how you 6-star monsters. Because how else are you going to get your overwhelming stock of these? Now, some people feed their 3-star max rainbow mons into each other. And maybe that was okay in the past because Comtois recently changed the drop rates to make the drop rates lower. In the past, the 3-star Rainbow Mon drop rate was really insanely high, so maybe feeding them into each other was okay. That's Rainbow Mon cannibalism. But nowadays, you should be keeping all your 3-star max Rainbow Mon and feeding them into your 2-star monsters, or feeding your 2-star monsters that you leveled up into those 3-star Rainbow Mons. So in order to make a lot of 6 stars, you need to be farming dragons, which is weird, right? Most people think, wait, if I want to make more 6 stars, I should be popping a double EXP and going to Faimon Hell or going to Iden Hell and farming. That's actually not the right way to go. You should be farming Faimon and Iden maybe 2 times in a month. 2 to 6 times in a month. You know, me, I'm doing a lot of PvP units, therefore I'm gonna go like maybe like 6 times in a month, whereas you should probably only go like 2 or 3 times a month, because you're more focused on your PvE than your PvP, right? So to divide your whole month up, spend like a couple of times a month, or maybe just 1 time that month before free rune removal, to 6-star all your to fully enhance all your runes, right? Maybe like 2 to 6 times that month you should be farming on double EXP, and then the rest of the time you finish your TOA, and after you're done with that, you're going into giants or you're going into dragons. That's how you divide up your time, okay? Obviously every single day try to do your easy mode Tartarus if possible. If not, then that's cool, and doing your guild battles and your siege battles when they come, right? You do all that and you will see growth, I promise you. If there's anything that's not clear in this video, needs clarification, or you want specific personal advice, private message me online or private message me in game. I'll do my best to help you. Alright, on to part 4.